Avengers, assemble. Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying the videos we produce, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel as it helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and algorithms. And if you're in a position to support the channel, you can follow a link in the description below and you can assemble with us on our Patreon with tiers starting as low as $1. I want to give a special shout out to my Avenger and Founder tier members and to all of my patrons. Thank you so much for your continued support. So, Thunderbolts plot leak. As a preface, I want to very quickly begin with this Thunderbolts plot leak was gathered prior to the beginning of the strikes and prior to the page 1 rewrite of the Thunderbolts film. The film is undergoing a significant rewrite from page 1. We have no idea what spirit of the film will maintain. We frankly don't even know how much of this treatment will be a part of the final film. But this is the original leak. For the sake of posterity and being as clear as possible and chronicling the history of these films and these project developments, we're going to cover it here. So the plot of Thunderbolts, if you do not want even the smallest details spoiled, I would turn away now. Again, as I said, I can't guarantee what does or does not make it into the final film, but I will offer that warning. There is potential this could spoil a chunk of the film for you. In terms of secret members, there are none. There's no Zemo. There's no Zemo at all anywhere in this treatment. Val assembles a team to take out the Sentry. So the Sentry is a character that was a part of a super soldier program, the Sentry Initiative. He is created and he has mental health issues, pretty much dissociative identity disorder. He has the void, basically really some psycho crazy shit, right? And in the film, the Sentry's created, he goes mad, and he escapes and flees. The Thunderbolts are assembled to hunt him down and kill the Sentry. Ultimately, the course of the film will lead them to the Savage Land, where the Sentry is hiding. There at the Savage Land, the Thunderbolts will meet Khazar and Sauron, which, again, if you don't know, Sauron is a giant pterodactyl that named himself after the Tolkien character just because he loves Tolkien so much. And Khazar is like Tarzan, Conan the Barbarian, young kid growing up in the jungle, that kind of, fighter, all that kind of shit. And the Thunderbolts will meet these two characters, and they will work together to locate Sentry and take him down. There is a crazy psychedelic fight, which is reminiscent of the best moments of Legion, is like the closest way that I can kind of equate the description. And ultimately, Sentry is left comatose/dead. It is described as being open-ended, I assume because Marvel's not really sure, are we going, what direction they'll go in and what will come of this character and of the Void. What I can say is that Steven Yeun is the one who was cast to play the Sentry, which is, again, very interesting casting, if not a little disappointing, only because I love Steven Yeun, and I feel like he's wasted. I mean, I feel like it's just a waste of an actor to use him on the Sentry. And I say that completely like knowing that I have a bias. Like, I am not the biggest fan of the Sentry. He's basically a Superman analog, which is fine and it's interesting. It's interesting for a story, but and I would be fine with anyone playing him, but I feel like Steven Yeun had a lot of potential that he could have been an MCU mainstay. And there's plenty of really great characters he could have played over the long term, and for me, Sentry just doesn't feel like that. Even this ending leaves a lot to be desired. It just feels it feels wasted, which again lines up with a lot of Marvel's villains. And this isn't like a recent issue. Marvel's always had a villain problem, not really understanding how to handle the villains, killing them off way too soon, just utterly wasting them. And I get it. You only have a couple of hours to play, but, and I might be off base here. I've talked about this in our live streams, but look at what cartoons can do in 20 minutes. That's all I'm saying. I mean, look at Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Look at Spectacular Spider-Man. Look at what cartoons can do in 20 minutes. but they can't figure out in a 2.5-hour movie. Now, like I said, Thunderbolts is undergoing a page 1 rewrite. I am totally willing to be wrong and that this page 1 rewrite will correct and really turn Sentry and turn this group of Thunderbolts into compelling, interesting characters. But what was presented is only mildly interesting. And I have to be completely frank with you. The only interest I have in the Thunderbolts right now is because of this leak and my associations with the Savage Land and Sauron especially. I don't have much of an association with Khazar. I know he's a Jack Kirby creation. I'm excited. I think it's great if that character makes it to screen. It's Sauron that really has my interest, and then also the ties that the Savage Land has to mutants and to the X-Men and to Magneto. That's where my interest is in this film completely, and I have no problems hiding that. The characters themselves, the team that is the Thunderbolts, nah. You say Savage Land and Giant Pterodactyl Man, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm there. Here's $10. Now, I know not everybody does feel that way, and that's fine. And I know that this group of Thunderbolts, I'm sure people have their favorites, and I'm sure many of you will be able to pick out your favorites from this, and that's great. And I'm sure somewhere there is someone who is a fan of the Sentry and who is really, really excited to be a cheerleader for the Sentry finally. And if you're that person, then by all means let me know. And again, by all means, suggest a really good Sentry comic. I've only read, to be fair, a little bit. Obviously Siege is a really fun event comic that I love, and then his retcon, his origin and how it retcons the history of the Avengers, which is a whole other thing about everybody forgetting about the Sentry. But that's not what's happening here. As far as this treatment has laid out, that is not what's happening here. Sentry hasn't been around for a long time, and people have been made to forget. Which I don't know if that's going to disappoint people who are like really passionate Sentry fans. For me, because I'm not a fan, I can kind of let it go and give or take, which I think is an interesting discussion even on, levels of fandom. Because I'm not a fan of the character, I'm fine that it's not accurate to the retconned, timeline in the comics. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. But if this is the treatment, if this is the story, then I think it's going to be a by-the-numbers Marvel movie. Not poor quality, not a poor film, just a by-the-numbers average Marvel film. And again, we're judging it off a leaked story treatment prior to the strikes, prior to the page 1 rewrite. So it's time to, at this point now, settle down and wait. And now we have to see, is the rewrite any different? Obviously, there's going to be differences because it's a page 1 rewrite, but is it still effectively going to be the same thing? And is the Savage Land still going to be there? Because that was the biggest deal for me. And would you miss the Savage Land, or is that just pretty much throwaway for you? Let me know in the comments below. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, and have a marvelous day. Bye, everyone.